All right, welcome back to Al's Home Kitchen Pizzeria. One of the things I get asked the most is to make a thinner pizza. I think my pizza is pretty thin by most standards, but some people want it a little bit thinner. So what I did today is I'm using my New York style pizza dough recipe. I did reduce the yeast a little bit, and I did a 2-day cold ferment in the refrigerator. I can show you how to do that in a future video. But what I did is instead of using the normal 15 ounces of dough I use for a large pizza in my home oven, I used 13. So that way I'll be able to spread it out a little bit thinner and still fit it on my baking steel. So stick around, let's see how we do this. All right, so what I'm gonna do is an hour before I wanna make my pizza, I'm gonna set my oven to 525 degrees. I'm gonna have a baking steel on the second to the top rack in the oven, and I'm gonna let that heat up for the full hour. About when I'm getting ready to make pizza, I'm gonna switch over to broil, and I'm gonna leave it on broil for about 10 to 15 minutes while I'm prepping the pizza. An important part here is to make sure you switch it back to bake. If you leave it on broil, you'll probably burn your pizza. But that's all there is to the setup. It takes a little bit of time, but it's well worth it. So as I said, I'm going to spread this as thin as I possibly can and still fit it in the oven. I'm going to leave very little edge here. I don't want it to puff up a whole lot for this one. And toss it back and forth to get rid of the excess flour. And then whatever method works best for you for stretching. You can see how well this was made in the KitchenAid, by the way. But we're going to go really thin with this. In fact, that's 13 ounces of dough, and I might have to get my other peel. I don't know that it's going to fit on this one. Give this one final stretch. You can see it's almost see-through. We'll add some sauce. Again, we're using Stanislaus 7-Eleven tomatoes, just a little bit of salt, and that's it on this one today. You can add whatever you want. I kind of like to go very basic with my sauce, let the tomatoes do the talking. All right, it's got a nice light layer of sauce on there. Let our freshly grated mozzarella cheese, this is whole milk, low moisture. My preference is Galbani. I know there's a lot of different opinions out there, but this is really good cheese, and this is one that's easily available to me at whatever store I go to, so it's the one I stick with. All right, so we're going kind of New York style, so we don't want a lot of cheese on here. We want the cheese and the sauce to kind of meld together. So there you go. Now remember, we've got the oven at 525 degrees, but it is set to broil, so I need to make sure I switch it back to bake before I pop this in there. The 15 minutes with it on broil will have given the steel a little bit more time to boost the temperature. It'll probably be about 600 degrees. Then we'll take a quick look here and see what temp the steel's at. So the steel got up to about 585, so that's a little bit better than the 525. It'll give it a little bit of a boost. About the 3 to 4 minute mark, I'm going to rotate it real quickly. I'm going to leave the oven open as little as possible to keep the heat in, so here we go. And then we'll let it go for about another 4 to 5 minutes until everything's golden brown. All right, and here we go. Finish it off with a little bit of Romano on top. All right, so here's a trigger alert for you. Since it's a New York slice and I can't make a pizza big enough to really demonstrate that, I'm going to cut this pizza kind of odd just to show you how it holds together. So I know I'll hear about it in the comments. That's okay. All right, so this is how you serve a New York slice, right? Look at that. It's going to have a little bit of flop on the end. I mean, for God's sakes, it's a huge slice of pizza, right? But there you go. On a paper plate, just like you were in New York. Let's check out the bottom. Beautiful. Test, let's give it a bite. So hopefully that's thin enough. Nice foldable New York slice.